Here go.
It's the Doyers.
They look good.
They're pretty good.
2-0.
Oh,
Oh, no. Welcome to the last team profile and projection. I've got good news. That means baseball is really close. And it is your Los Angeles Dodgers. Not a big shock on this one.
No.
Not a big shock on this one. And that's because you might want to tune into Trev's Who They Brought In segment. The DirecTV Rewind. If you're ready to transform your baseball watching experience, head to directv.com/Jomboy or scan the QR code on the screen to learn more. Thank you, DirecTV, getting us through all of these teams. Trev, here's a good first for them. First in the World Series.
That's a good one.
They won. They won the NL West, which they seem to do every year. They won 4-1 to the Yankees. They were second at scoring runs. They had the highest OPS. Man, this is crazy. Their starting pitching numbers just aren't that great last year. Gavin Stone, a friend who's warehouse adjacent, had the most innings pitched. That's going to be a trivia question.
They didn't have a lot of starters last year.
They came through at the right time. Best run differential, Trev, Cook, because this is an off season.
Walker Buehler just going like this at the end of the World
He's
Series.
gone.
Iconic.
Where'd he go?
We'll get there, Jake.
Boston, great.
Yeah, he's out, but who they added to an already world champion team? Well, let's start with Roki Sasaki, who signed to essentially a minor league
They gave
deal.
a lot of money?
No, they gave him international bonus pool money for the signing bonus, and he'll be making the league minimum for the next 3 years before he enters the arbitration phase. Japanese pitcher who throws 100 miles an hour with a splitter. He's very good.
Started game 2 for them.
Anybody could have signed him.
Kinda.
Well, maybe not. Maybe not anybody could have signed him. But he's with the Dodgers now. Blake Snell, 2-time Cy Young Award winner, 5 years, $182 million. I'll never pay for a meal with him either, ever again.
I might tap on you. I want to get dinner with Blake Snell pretty badly.
You and I would have a great time with Blake.
He's like my number one.
He's something special. How about Tanner Scott? The guy that was like kind of shutting the Dodgers down to a crosstown rival, and the Padres, comes over on a 4-year, $72 million deal. He's their closer now. So that's awesome.
If they want.
He did. He closed out the first game. Michael Conforto comes back or signs to a 1-year, $17 million deal. Was with the Giants last year. So they went and pillaged the Giants for Blake Snell, the Padres for Tanner Scott, the Giants for Conforto. That's gotta hurt. Like interdivision, just taking the good players. Kirby Yates came over on an afterthought. Go look at his stats last year.
Japan.
Pitched to a 1.17.
They pillaged Japan.
They pillaged Japan as well. 1 year 13 for old Kirby Yates. Your team could have given him 1 year 14 or 15, and he probably would have signed. But he's on the Dodgers now. Your guy Hyesung Kim comes over to a 3-year, $12.5 million deal. So they brought in those guys who are just, back end bullpen, number one starting pitchers, incredible players that they brought in. They also exercised the options, or they re-signed, Teoscar Hernandez, 3 years, $66 million deal. They brought back Blake Trinan, 2 years, $22 million. Clayton Kershaw comes back. When is he going to pitch?
I think he's just a coach.
1 year, $7.5 million. I don't know when he's going to pitch. I don't not like when is he going to be okay to pitch. It's like, when is he going to pitch? Because we're going to get to everything that they have. They also brought back Kike Hernandez. They signed Tommy Edman to an extension, 5 years, $74 million. They exercised the club option on Miguel Rojas. Brought back Austin Barnes. They've done a little bit of everything, including signing my guy Eddie Rosario to a minor league deal. Okay, so they added to an already very, very strong roster with all the people who I just said. They did lose some guys, Jake, including, but Walker Buehler at the end of the year. Who else did they lose?
Yeah, hey, if you're bringing in that much, you got to lose something. They lost our Moxie King, Walker Buehler, who did close out the World Series. He's in Boston. Jack Flaherty, friend. He goes back to Detroit. Thank you for your service. Enjoy your ring. Not a bad deal. Not a bad deal. Gavin Lux got traded just because, I don't know. He was so good for them in the second half.
Who was that trade?
It might have been kids.
I'm going to
They
get
don't
you.
need
I got it.
anything.
You keep going.
Daniel Hudson retired. He said, I'm good. I got the ring. Kevin Kiermaier, same.
See ya.
How about that?
He's going to go bow fishing. That's what he does. Root for Purdue. Everyone knows that.
Your guy Honeywell still looking for a contract. So is Joe Kelly. Ryan Brazier's out of town. Diego Cartaya on your Twins. Watch out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gavin Lux was traded to the Reds for Mike Sirota, not to mention not Soroka.
Right. The young outfielder.
Sirota and a draft pick. So maybe a compensation round. You can trade the compensation round picks, I believe.
So they're rebuilding while they're signing everyone.
Now I'm looking at Mike Sirota, and he has not played in the minors. So how did he get traded?
I remember I looked this up one day, and we shouldn't do this now, but I think is he a draft pick out of the Northeast? Did he go to like Northeastern or something?
Northeastern, yes.
How do I
Third
fucking
round
know
of
that?
2024. How can they trade him already?
Forget my mom's middle name.
Something's
I know Mike
amiss
Sirota.
here.
Everything's amiss. It's the Dodgers.
Okay.
There's
By the way, he absolutely raked in college. One dotted in college. So there's that.
This might not even. I don't know if this is a team profile and project. Maybe they're just their own thing. They're one of one. Oh, Rob found something.
He's also the grandnephew of Whitey Ford.
So maybe they just wanted that.
Okay.
Now they're just taking Yankees history too.
Okay.
Now they get Whitey. Trev, I think the lineup looks good. What do you think?
I think the lineup looks really good. They got a guy named Shohei Ohtani hitting leadoff. He's usually a DH, but also, fun fact, he throws the ball really well, too. So he'll be pitching.
Is he fast?
He's fast.
Oh.
Hits absolute tank jobs. I believe it was 54-59 last year was the end totals.
Good year.
54 homers,
Good year.
59 stolen bases. Okay. Mookie Betts at shortstop, batting second. Freddie Freeman. He's had the owies a little bit to start the year. He'll be fine. First base, Teoscar Hernandez in right field. Max Muncy at third base. Will Smith behind the dish. Michael Conforto in left field. Tommy Edman at second base. Andy Pajes. You know I love my Cuban ball players.
Yeah.
In center field. On the bench, Austin Barnes, Kike Hernandez, Miguel Rojas, and Chris Taylor. That's a seasoned bench right there. Other names to watch, Hyesung Kim, we mentioned him. Where is he going to fit in all of this? He's going to start the season in AAA, but we'll keep an eye on what's going on there. James Outman, Eddie Rosario as well. So the lineup is stacked. They have a very utilitarian bench, if you will. Tell me about that rotation.
Yeah.
And the bullpen.
And here's the thing. I think they're going to be able to throw the ball pretty good this year.
Yeah.
Yoshinobu Yamamoto had a 3-flat ERA last year after his first 2 bad starts, which means he was really good. Rogi Sasaki, welcome to the league. Not paying him like you mentioned. Let's see what he is. Just a bonus piece for now. Blake Snell, 2-time Cy Young winner, gets the contract he's been looking for. Tyler Glass now.
Never received a Cy Young vote. Gross.
No. And if he stays healthy for a year, he probably will be Cy Young 1. So we'll see.
And he's built like
Me. Dustin May is back. Remember that?
Yes.
Remember all of that? He's back, and that's before you get to Clayton Kershaw. We'll see if they need him. Tony Gonsolin. Again, go look at his baseball reference page. Bobby Miller, Trev, is just you've loved him since day one.
Since day one.
He's a AAA 2-starter for them. You'll see Justin Robleski maybe get the call this year, and the bullpen. This is where things get pretty crazy. Tanner Scott, Kirby Yates, Blake Trinan, Vesia and Banda, what those two were in the postseason and now. Ben Kasparius, my guy at a UConn.
Yeah, he pitched already.
Pretty nasty. Oh, yeah, and we'll see what Kopech does this year if they need him. Same with Evan Phillips. Same with Bruce Dark-Gratterall. Their bullpen has a bullpen. Their rotation has a rotation. Their lineup has a lineup. Trev, we are here. The last team profile and projection. We fought through the Marlins and the Rockies,
Yes.
and we dreamt of days like this. Well, here we are. They're already 2-0, so that's a leg up.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's true. Thank you to everyone that's listened to all these, because we have heard from multiple people now, like they use these to get ready for the season. We do too. And it is a lot of work for us to get this job done. Robbie Sirocco's done a great job, and we just we record when we can. It's usually 3 or 4 at a time, and it's fun. I actually really, it's very daunting at the beginning to do it.
It's helpful.
But it's helpful, and I just appreciate people that listen to these, because there is a lot of work that goes into it.
We like to make jokes, but jokes that are around knowing ball to the best of our degree, and these are big.
The best. Okay, what are we talking about with the Dodgers? Here's the thing, people.
That's the problem.
This is legit. Like, is this the greatest roster ever assembled? Is like a legitimate question.
Yeah.
And people, you glaze the Dodgers, that's your team. They're not my team.
Also,
I'm a Minnesota Twins fan.
Also,
okay?
the answer is probably yes, right?
And like, look at stop unglazing. How about that? Like, maybe you need to
or glaze yourself.
Like, glaze a little bit.
Lock
dude.
the door. Glaze yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Like, this team is incredible. The way that they look. Let's talk about some things that Dodger fans don't always talk about. Do they have the most fruitful TV deal in all of baseball? Yes. Does that help them have a financial advantage over other teams? Yes. Do they have an ownership group that's spread out and can mitigate risk and take more risk because of that? Yes. Here's the truth with all that. Have they made themselves the number one organization in the sport? Yes. Player development, scouting, advanced analytics, like everything that you could think of, they are at the forefront of. Okay, and that goes back from feeding their minor leaguers. They were one of the first teams to take a look and say, we need to feed our minor leaguers better, because guess what? We're going to have to draw from that. They've done everything right, and it has not been overnight. It has not been overnight. They've taken the necessary steps. So financially, yeah, do they have a leg up? Sure, but they've done a lot of great things in player development and scouting that I think needs to be talked about. So, like, kudos to all those guys. They've built an incredible engine out there. It's a destination for players to go now. And we're talking about a place, like, it's expensive to live in California.
Yeah.
Like, so a lot of guys, before would balk at the 13% state income tax, but now they're like, you know what? I'm going to go win a World Series. I'll pay 13% to go win a World Series. That's the way they're thinking. They're bringing guys in left and right. They are not afraid to go above and beyond in contract situations, because you're either setting the market or you're watching the market pass you by, man. Guys want to go sign there. And that's how they've been able to construct this roster. They really tapped into the Japanese market. You alluded to it earlier, but guess what, dude? That's where all these dudes are going now.
Yeah.
So that didn't just happen because Shohei decided to play there. Like, they have done work over there.
Right.
Established a foothold, and that's I don't know, man. And I wanted to start there because I feel like a lot of people say, oh, they just have more money. They just buy. That's not the truth. They've really developed every single aspect of an organization that you want to develop. And so it all deserves a lot of credit.
Yeah, and obviously we've talked model organization before, and like the Phillies come up. Even the Padres have had like that run there that was just fun, and like how it was kind of like, how do you want your team to act? And the Dodgers almost were like an illegal pick, because you're like, what? But man, how many guys do you look at that roster and you're like, they would be a bad time to sit next to on the plane? Like, they don't have that. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like, sometimes you look at star teams and you're like, oh, well, I'll go for a guy, different sport. Terrell Owens was kind of like a guy in football for a while that it was like, well, yeah, he's T.O., but he's T.O. No one even registers. No one even, like, is near the line. Blake Snell plays too many video games when that was a thing 5 years ago. Is that their craziest? Like, these guys are well-liked. They have Dave Roberts, who's one of the nicer cats you'll ever come across. Like, it feels like egos are aside because there's such a respect for what everyone does. Whether you're Tommy Edman, dude, they told Max Muncy, like, bro, we got goals here. You got to pick it up at third base. He picked it up at third base.
I love Max Muncy.
That's stuff we don't there's other teams. My Yankees that I know the best, the Yankees tiptoe around that stuff. Like, hey, these guys are pros. We don't treat them like a high school team. The Dodgers do whatever they need to do to put the best product on the field. And it's everything you just talked about. Free agents, trades, signing guys from overseas, minor league development, pro development.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of teams that we talk about, and they're like, no, it's pretty cool. Like, oh, the Braves, they tap into shortstops and make them pitchers well. Or, hey, this team, they they can go out and sign the best free agents. Oh, the Rays, they've always got a pitcher coming up in the minor leagues. These Guardians play defense. They do everything.
Do everything well.
What's the Achilles heel?
I mean, it's been injuries to the pitching staff, I guess, but
But it wasn't.
They were okay. They figured that out. People will point to that, by the way, because, Dave Roberts, Doc, was under a lot of scrutiny before last year.
Yeah.
And then he went into the playoffs and did a really, really good job with a team that didn't have a ton of starting pitching and won the World Series. Now he's not. He's got the largest extension in managerial history, so that's good. There isn't really an Achilles heel to this team. There was, you're talking about the clubhouse and all of that. Like, there were just some things I really like that, maybe we don't really need to talk about this team on paper. That's the thing. So now we're talking almost like intangibles, things that I liked that I saw last year, because a lot of these guys are returning. During the playoffs, when they had, they had the 1 seed, so there was like a week where they weren't playing baseball, and I spoke to Flaherty about this. They went to the ballpark, and they stayed there all day. And the reasoning was, we don't want to lose that momentum. So they went out and they just were like, they acted like they had games. So they were at the field all day. They didn't just go there for a 3-hour practice. They went out there for a 3-hour practice, then ate together, and then went out and did some more. And then they hung out together in the clubhouse afterwards. And what they said was, tell your families, just give us 3 more weeks.
Right.
3 more weeks, lock it in, and then you have the offseason. But we can't lose the momentum that we have going right now. They wanted that so bad. I don't think every team does that. In fact, I've never really even heard of that.
Right.
Let's rest. Let's have our family time before it all pops off. They're like, no, like, let's stay here together. And like, you're talking about superstars wanting to do that and giving up their time. That is not a normal thing.
Right.
But when you're talking about who are the superstars here, it's Shohei, Mookie, and Freddie, who were just, there was like a poll that just went out, like, who would you want to be teammates with the most? And it was like those 3 guys. Yeah. And the Dodgers got all of them, dude. Yeah. Freddie was sad when he came to the Dodgers. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
The Braves booted him out,
that?
dude. They went out and made a trade for Matt Olson and then signed him to a deal. And Freddie was like, I guess I'll go to the Dodgers.
Right.
Are you kidding me? There's a lot of things to like. I don't know, man. There really isn't much to say other than we're going to see him in the postseason. I can't wait to see who's healthy at that time. Like, what's the if everyone's healthy, what the freak do they do? Too many pitchers. Do they start to move off some of those guys at the deadline and say, well, where do we need another high leverage reliever? I don't think they do, but like, where else do you go?
Yeah, I guess trying to think of genuine. One of the storylines is, what does Shohei look like this year, and will he pitch? So that's something to track. But again, we're talking about first world problems. Like, is he going to steal as much this year because he did that, and the risk of Shohei getting hurt? Like, they don't.
I don't think he steals as much this year.
Like,
he's
that
pitching,
could be something. Mookie at shortstop. That can be something, but not like an Achilles heel. Like, hit it at Mookie and we're going to win games. Dude, it's funny you went in more intangible stuff, and I guess it does make sense, because what are we going to say?
That's what I'm saying.
Snell's fastball plays well with his off speed. Like, but I think another thing that I think matters in sports is when you have the best team. Baseball can be tricky because a good starting pitcher can neutralize anyone. Like, that's one of the beautiful things in the sport. Although this lineup, maybe not. Like, if they're at the peak of their powers, they're going to do something. Dude, the other team, the pressure they put on them in every game, playing loose is a thing. Like, you hear it with good teams all the time. Like, oh, yeah, this team lost the Super Bowl. We were kind of tight. The second one, we were loose and we balled out.
Yeah.
In any sport, when you play loose, if you've ever played a pickup basketball game and you guys are hot, The ball's moving around. You're not afraid to pull. Like, the sport just feels better. The Dodgers have that every night because they're more talented. So it's rooted in being more talented. Like, you can't be a bad team and have that. But they have that in a way we haven't seen before that I guess maybe Achilles heel isn't the right term, but how much does the season wear on them? Is it every team's World Series? When the Dodgers come to town and it's a packed house and Shohei, like, are they going to feel that?
No, because of what you just said. These guys, like, they can struggle and it's no big deal. Like, somebody's going to pick it up.
Someone's going to go.
Like, that is not the case. We're talking about some lineups where, like, dude, these guys, like, have to be who they are, and then these guys have to pick it up, and maybe they're on any given night, one of these guys in their lineup can be the best player on the field. That's you just can't say it. We are legitimately talking about by far the best roster in baseball. We mentioned it before the show, possibly one of the most talented baseball rosters ever assembled. And that's like, it's not hyperbole.
No.
You could call it hyperbole if you want, but yeah. I think you're being, what would you call that? A hater. I think you're being a hater. If you look at this lineup and you can't say objectively, wow, look at what's going on this team. This is, find me a better roster in the last 30 years.
Yeah, I think.
Is it the Yankees in '99? Will you go to that? What's the one with like Teixeira and A-Rod and Cano and Jeter and all that? Is that '99?
2009.
2009?
So 2009 they signed a bunch of free agents.
Jesus.
Yeah. The Dynasty Yankees 2000, 99. 98 is the famous won a ton of games.
Okay.
They're in an argument for best team ever, blah blah blah. But I mean, even I guess trying to think of more recent years, I was pretty bullish to watch the Braves try to follow up their championship because they had
2021 they win it.
They had everyone. Like they have
okay.
They have that young core. And for me, something I liked with the Atlanta Braves that year was Freddie left and they brought in Matt Olson. Ronald Acuna missed the postseason. So like they had some fresh blood of like, damn, Matt Olson didn't get a ring. Ronnie wanted to be there. In 2022, they won 101 games. They lost in the DS.
This team's better than those teams.
It's not even close. It's just.
Sorry, I got to stop you there. I mean, Shohei Ohtani is the difference maker on this team. We're talking Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman aren't even like. I feel like I'm being rude, but like it's a different level. Shohei Ohtani is on a different level than anybody in the league. They'll tell you that themselves.
Yeah.
And these guys are if we're doing Top Gun, like this is the best of the best we're talking about. And Mookie and Freddie. You
love Top Gun.
These are like inner circle Hall of Famers we're talking about. Like real deal players, and Shohei is above everybody. And he's on your team.
And is
he like the nicest person in the world? Like
pretty beloved. You could say that for three guys.
Mookie Betts is so loved. He's on like the team that everyone wants to beat and hate, and he'll still interview you after the game on his own podcast.
Yeah,
and like people will come on willingly because they love Mookie Betts.
Serve you some flapjacks,
dude.
Golly.
Hey, I just won 4 for 4 against your team, and we swept the series. Do you want to come on my podcast? Sure, Mookie. Let's do it.
Game blouses. I guess for me, my last corny thing, I think before we get to the over-under, unless there's anything else you want to get off your chest. Greatness, whenever you watch a Jordan doc or anything, you hear like greatness breeds greatness and setting the bar and all that. Shohei really has set it at a level that was unbelieved.
Why were we not buying Shohei Ohtani rookie cards? Like, what were we thinking?
Dude, there were scouts that said he wouldn't hit. There was guys that didn't think he'd be a great pitcher. And it goes back to, maybe this is the perfect little swing back. It goes back to the start of the Dodgers. Shohei's gotten a lot better as a baseball player. He's grown as a pitcher. He's grown as a hitter. That, like, he's clearly putting in work.
I don't know
If he's not, he's actually an alien.
He's insane.
I think he puts in
No,
the
I'm not
work.
saying he doesn't put in
No,
work.
I know.
That's
I'm
crazy.
messing
I'm
with
not
you.
saying
messing
that.
with you. The DraftKings over under. My
Oh
God, I just
my.
got to peek at it.
Yeah, I know. I think I got to lean too.
Hoops fans and baseball fans, it's time. The most exciting time is here. There's underdogs battling in hoops. We told you every baseball team and what they're going to do this year. Go lock in your picks with our partners at DraftKings. Right now, all new customers who bet just $5 will get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you use code TALKIN. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use code TALKIN. Bet just $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's code TALKIN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
I feel like we'd even talk about the bullpen. Tanner Scotts, Kirby Yates, Blake Trinan, Alex Vesia. Go check out those numbers. Kopech is coming back at some point in 2025. He had forearm inflammation, and we'll see what's going on with that. He's feeling 60% right now. Evan Phillips had a rotator cuff PRP injection. He'll be back. Brewster Gratterall. Like, they have a legitimate, 7 dudes that could close out games for them. They're going to be fighting to get the ball. They're going to be fighting. Like, I want to pitch.
Right? Like, they're going to have a little bit of like a hungry dog mentality.
Yes. Maybe that's what breaks the Dodgers. Too many good players finally broke the system. I don't know. The DraftKings over-under win total.
It's a big one.
103.5. It's a big one. The next closest, I believe, was
91?
No, the Braves were 93.5.
Okay.
Those were the two.
103.5.
103.5. Mind you, last year, Jake, I'm going to bring it back up. They won 98 games. Okay.
Our starting pitching wasn't great during the regular season last year.
Okay.
Their starting rotation has a chance to be the best in baseball. That's
You ready?
Okay. Yeah.
I'm ready. In 3, 2, 1. Over. I didn't want to take that over, like coming in, like knowing that it was going to be really high. I believe I took the under on him last year because it was probably like at 101 or something.
Right.
I just think this team is going to fall into wins in ways that were like, what just happened? I truly believe we might see this team never lose under a 600 winning percentage in any month. There's just too many good players on the team. It would take a meltdown or an injury run of epic proportions for this team not to win 100 games.
The math isn't mathin'. When I say that, I mean, okay, whoever's taking the pill for the Dodgers is like an elite starting pitcher.
Or an elite bullpen.
Or an elite bullpen arm. So on your side, you need hitting
Yes.
to be good enough to withstand that.
Yeah.
And some teams just don't have that. Okay. And even if your team does, who's throwing for you that day? And what's your bullpen look like? Because you got to get through that lineup 4 times. And there's, like, honestly, I want to take the under. You and me both have a little Vegas in us that's like, hey, when Vegas throws a big line at you, you know, stuff can happen that makes that lower number. There's a reason they put it up there. I don't know, man. I think this is just different, and I think they're about it. Everything we said about Mookie, Shohei, and Freddie, I think they're about it. That rotation is about it. That, yeah, hey, maybe I'm daydreaming, and I think they want it. I think like 110 is in play here.
The Dodgers scored 5.2 runs per game last year. Are you going to score 5 runs a game against this freaking pitching staff? You're not.
Like, Go look at some of the Snell splits. Go look at Glasnow's number.
Their magic number is going to be if they score 4 runs. If they score 4 runs or more this year, they're going to win the game. Like at a heavy percentage.
It was I was staying in division a little bit, and it's funny thinking of the Padres who were there, and maybe they still are there, but like they need a perfect game script. It's like, hey, Cease throws 7 shut. We give it to Adam and Suarez, 2 great bullpen guys, and our lineup gets 3 or 4 against you. But other teams don't even have that option, really.
They gave up 4.23 runs per game last year, and we just talked about how much better the starting pitching is going to be. It wouldn't surprise me if they got into the sub-4s per game. Last year, that was the Royals, Tigers, Brewers, Guardians, Braves, and Mariners did that.
And maybe, Trev, maybe this is illegal on our end. They're already 2-0. So I've just got to get
101, 102 wins.
Just got to get 102 more.
I mean, look, I know it's 2 games in Japan. Doesn't really, like, honestly, like,
Right.
Those games are crazy. Like, anything can happen. But, like,
Mookie and Freddie didn't play.
They didn't play, and they dismantled the Cubs.
It's 2 games. It doesn't.
I don't know.
But it's not. It's one of the more fun storylines we've seen out of a baseball season. The debate if super teams are good or not. I want to watch, and
I do too.
You might only have to watch the first 4 or 5 innings. So they're going to be a big discussion of this season. Thank you, everyone. Trevor Plouffe, ladies and gentlemen, Rob Scirocco, myself, as always, and you, the people. You guys gave us these rankings. It's time for baseball. Leave a comment. You guys are the best. Let's do it.
It's baseball season.
Wow.
Baby. Yes.
Wow. Woo! See ya. Subscribe.